13 News at 11 starts right now.
Well, if I get in trouble, I get in trouble, but that's the way it'll be.
Hampton Roads reacts to a new no water law tonight, why the governor put it in place and what it means for you and your lawn.
Good evening and thanks for joining us.
Our big local story tonight, it's now against the state law to use water whenever you'd like.
Today, Governor Warner stepped up the fight against the drought by ordering mandatory water restrictions. Mr. Warner says he's taking action now to prevent Virginians from thinking they don't need to conserve after this week's rainfall.
We have team coverage of today's announcement. 13's chief meteorologist Jeff Lawson explains why this week's rain isn't enough to bail us out.
13's Benita Harris is live with details about an emergency pipeline going up.
But let's begin with 13's Craig Savali live in Norfolk with an explainer on the new no water law.
Well, Gina, all homeowners here in Hampton Roads are going to be affected by this. About the only folks who are not are folks up in Northern Virginia in the southwestern part of the state. Now, the ban affects those who use city water and private wells. Now, the ban does allow for such things as golf courses to water at night. It also allows for car washes, commercial ones like this one here in back of me, to operate during this ban. Now, it is kind of weird to be out here on another rainy night here in Hampton Roads talking about water bans, but it just goes to show you just how bad these drought conditions are.
Get ready to turn off the sprinklers, hang up the hoses. Homeowners in Hampton Roads are part of the near statewide ban that restricts you from watering your lawn, washing cars, even filling swimming pools.
It affects me adversely. I have a well. I won't be able to use it, but it's a sacrifice we have to make.
It's a sacrifice many well users are not used to. For years, they've been able to avoid restrictions on city water by using their private wells.
I don't think he should be able to tell us about the wells. He didn't pay nothing to help me put it in. I think I should be able to use it when I want to.
The ban covers all non-essential watering by homeowners, but the governor says stricter measures could be imposed if the drought conditions worsen, which worries construction workers like Kenneth Morris.
Without mortar, you put me out of work. There's nothing I can do. You got to have water to mix mortar, concrete, and that's what I do for a living.
Now, it may be a few weeks before localities start policing the new restrictions, and as with every new law, it will take time for some to catch on.
Do you stop watering?
No. Now, let's not get caught.
You get in trouble now.
Well, if I get in trouble, I get in trouble, but that's the way it'll be.
Now, council members from cities across Hampton Roads will be meeting over the next few weeks to determine what kind of penalties to implement on this new law. Now, in most cases, you're likely to get a warning for a first offense, but expect to be fined for a second offense and thereafter. That's the latest. We're live in Norfolk tonight. Regina and David, back to you.
13's Benita Harris continues our team coverage now live from the newsroom.
Benita, reservoir levels in Portsmouth have been dangerously low since last November, and tonight I understand long-term relief is in sight.
Finally, after Portsmouth became one of the first local cities to enforce mandatory water restrictions, last month residents began receiving these flyers saying, "We've got to do it." But now help is on the way through a new $3.4 million emergency pipeline.
You know the old saying, when it rains, it pours. And the lack of rain has especially poured problems on the city of Portsmouth. This week's storms have provided some temporary relief, but not enough to break the drought.
In ordinary times, Portsmouth's reservoirs are more than 90% full at this time of the year. At the beginning of this week, we were approaching the 50% mark. Of course, that is not good.
Portsmouth has imposed increasingly strict water restrictions on its citizens. And now it's called on fellow Hampton Road cities who've come to the rescue. They've come together to build a 4-mile emergency pipeline in Suffolk, pumping up to 10 million gallons a day from the Norfolk-owned Lake Prince to the Portsmouth-owned Lake Mead.
The city of Norfolk has some capacity in our system to deliver raw water to our neighbors, and with Portsmouth being in its reservoirs in the condition that they are in, we're glad to be of help.
I'm extremely happy about it, and I'm most fortunate that the sisters in our region would be there sister cities would be there to help us. If we was setting out somewhere by ourselves, we'd really be in a dilemma.
Pilot Rider Lewis Hansen reports Portsmouth leaders call the pipeline a long-term solution.
Once it's finished, they think they'll be in a lot better position to weather these droughts and hopefully they won't see these water conservation measures too often.
Work on the pipeline will begin immediately, scheduled to be complete by the end of the year. And it's not expected to increase fees for Portsmouth customers. You can read more on this emergency pipeline in tomorrow's paper. We're live in the newsroom tonight. David and Regina, back to you.
Let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lawson in the 13 News Weather Line.
Okay, Jeff, some folks are having a hard time understanding the water crisis since we've had lots and lots of rain all week, but the drought runs really deep, doesn't it?
No doubt. I mean, the perfect way to think about it is it didn't take a few dry days to build up. It took literally months and months. So it's not going to go away literally overnight, or even in a week for that matter. Let's take a look at the forecast, and you can see we have some light rain around the area right now. Something like this isn't even going to put a dent in the drought with just a few 1/100ths of an inch of rain expected overnight. What we want to take a look at, though, is the overall pattern. Because, yes, the rain has certainly been welcome. It has been needed. Of course, we got a little too much in some spots, but for the most part, we needed a little bit of wet weather. We've started to get it. However, west of this little trough of low pressure, there's not much going on that feeds a lot of the groundwater. Here locally, again, we've had some of the rain, and as we go through the weekend, things will continue at times to be wet, and then at other times it won't be. So when you get scattered areas of rainfall like this, yes, it helps the situation. But if you want to look at the statistics, we're not even up to normal yet for this month, let alone since January 1st or over the last year and a half. So we're looking at scattered showers. We'll detail those more, though, coming up in the weather segment. For now, that's the latest live from the Weather Lab.
Now, we know we've thrown a lot of information at you, from rainfall totals to water restrictions.
And tonight we want you to know we've also put those reports and more information on our website, wvec.com. By logging on, you'll find ideas on how to conserve water and how to reach your local public utilities departments. It's important information at your fingertips.
Well, tonight marks the beginning of the long Labor Day weekend, and yes, it's off to a soggy start. 13's Ramona Parks is live at the ocean front, where locals and tourists are celebrating away with the American Musical Festival. And how are the crowds, Ramona?
Well, David, they're pretty good considering the wet weather. Most folks are like me. They're prepared. They've got the raincoats, umbrellas, all that good stuff. Let me let you say hello to some of the fans here who are having a good time. Say hi, guys. Now, these are just a couple people who are on the boardwalk, but there are hundreds, maybe thousands more down on the sand who you can't see. The man of the hour they want to see, that man up there, Travis Tritt. Country sensation Travis Tritt helped kick off the American Music Festival.
He's cute.
He's cute? He's too old for you. You're only 9. That cuteness, along with his music, may have urged folks to come out despite the rain. 50 performances will be on 10 stages in just 4 days, and most of the concerts are free.
Well, obviously, we would like it if it were great and sunny out here, but you know, I don't really think it dampens people's enthusiasm. We have a great crowd out here tonight for Travis Tritt. Our policy is, you know, we try to go right on with the show.
Oh, we know how to handle it. We use an umbrella.
But others keep dry and make a fashion statement at the same time, mixing cowboy hats with bright slickers.
That's right, it's raining, honey.
One way to quickly dampen the party is to not know where to park. The Rock and Roll Half Marathon is Sunday, and starting off at 6 a.m., major roads will be closed around the route, including Bird Neck, General Booth, Pacific, and Atlantic. Back out here live, you can see folks swaying in the music, some in their rain slickers, just prepared for this wet weather out here. This is the 9th year they've had the American Music Festival, and this weekend, Virginia Beach officials expect a couple 100,000 people out here. We're live in Virginia Beach tonight. Ramona Parks, 13 News.
The holiday weekend has already been a deadly one. A Chesapeake woman died today after a man being chased by police ran his car through her bedroom. Family members and friends of 67-year-old Evelyn Gregory came to her home all day to comfort each other. Police say they were chasing the man, 32-year-old William Conley, on a tip from his friend. He was believed to be suicidal and armed with a shotgun. Conley never stopped for police, only to lose control of his car and crash into Gregory's house.
That was my mother, my girlfriend, my friend, you know, and then she's gone. Mom. I don't got my mom no more.
Conley wasn't seriously hurt in the crash. Tonight, police tell us he's behind bars, charged with a number of crimes, including second-degree homicide. And in Norfolk, the driver of this Kia is killed after drifting into oncoming traffic near the Mason Creek Road overpass. One car was hit. As a result, the people inside were treated at a nearby hospital for bumps and bruises.
Just ahead, on 13 News at 11.
So why are kids allowed to climb all over it? Tonight, the debate over arsenic-treated wood heats up. We'll bring you opinions from both sides.
A little rain on the radar and a little rain in the forecast. But then again, some clearing at times. We'll try to give you the details.
13 News at 11 continues for Red Mill, Kiln Creek, and all of Hampton Roads in a moment.
You're watching 13 News at 11. Live with David Allen. Regina Mobley. From the 13 News Weather Lab, Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lawson. 13 Sports with Scott Cash. Right now, 13 News at 11 continues.
Children bear a greater health risk than the government claims when they're exposed to arsenic-treated wood in outdoor decks and playsets.
That's the finding of an environmental group challenging the lumber industry and the EPA. Months ago, the industry agreed to an EPA plan to phase out arsenic-based pesticides in its new products. But the EPA says there's no need to replace or remove old wood, even though arsenic is known to cause cancer in humans. Still, a new test by the Environmental Working Group shows the cancer risk from older decks is no different.
We have data for 263 decks, playsets, shows that the arsenic levels on wood don't decline with age, and that old structures are just as dangerous as the new wood that EPA banned.
You can lower your risk of exposure by applying a wood sealant every 6 months, washing your hands, your kids' hands too, after every contact, covering picnic tables, and don't store toys under decks.
3 days and a wake-up before the majority of Hampton Roads kids head back to school. If some had to go now, they'd not be ready. So tonight we're asking you to help us help them. We call it the right stuff. If you can, pick up some extra pens and pencils, notebooks, etc., then drop them off in the boxes supplied by Security Storage and Van at area Kmart stores and AMF bowling centers. The Salvation Army will come behind you to distribute the donations. Our school supply drive wraps up September 6th, so come on out and help out.
There's going to be plenty more money for students to attend William & Mary. The college tells us it's received $21 million from an anonymous donor. The money will be used for scholarships for undergraduates making good grades. We're told today's donation is the largest gift in the history of the college.